Hey Tri-State, welcome to Facebook Live Friday. I want to make the announcement like we always do that if you're driving to please wait to watch this video until you are safely pulled over or stopped. Again, this video will be available later on if you miss it. But today we had marketed that we were going to have Michael Fisk and Frank Larance with us. Unfortunately, Michael is unavailable today, but we are excited to have Frank with us. We're going to be discussing the Larance cameras, and so I'm going to turn it over to Frank.
Thank you, Riley. Well, cameras are something I'm really excited about. I've got a lot of information to share with you today. I want to first start out with looking at cameras as something for high security. I mean, we're a high security company, so we have high responsibility. And part of that responsibility is to ensure we're the safest company out there. We have a commitment to safety for cameras. We also have a commitment to DASKI and our customers. Our customers are actually requesting that we have cameras in our trucks, and the majority of companies throughout the whole DASKI organization of 6,000 trucks do have cameras installed in them. So what we've done is gone out and worked a deal out with Larance so that we're going to get the latest and greatest cameras for all of our trucks. Right now we have about we're a little less than 50% cameras in our trucks. We've got about 204 of them. We have a little over 450 trucks in our fleet. So we've worked out a deal to be able to have cameras in all of our trucks. Pretty simple install. I've got our companies here. I'm going to shift through to give you a little perspective. Again, I got our main phone number. I always like to put that up. And just give you an idea of what the camera is going to look like. So this is the new Larance SF64 Drive Cam. What you're looking at here, this first image, this is what you will see in the driver's seat. This is what's going to face the road. Something that I know a lot of you are going to see right away is that, hey, there's a camera facing me. I will tell you that we do not turn on the inward facing camera. So there is a hardware setting that we work with Larance, and that inward facing camera is shut off at all times. It never can be enabled. So that camera's always off. We also disable audio. Audio is an option on these cameras. We have chosen to disable that. I'd love to get your feedback if you think that audio is something that we should enable. What the camera does is it records forward-facing video only, and that's the only thing that we would ever see is forward-facing video from the camera. We also are working on providing clamshells. These clamshells will allow you to basically cover up the entire camera if you go to an area or facility that requires the camera to be covered. You'll notice on this camera that there are a couple of blue buttons. Those blue buttons allow you to capture a segment of video that you think might be important. Maybe you see a drunk driver. Maybe there's an event that you'd like to manually record. So just by hitting one of those buttons, it's going to give you the option to manually record, or actually is going to automatically start to manually record. Now with these videos, the way it works, and I've actually got kind of a flow chart here for you to kind of talk through how this works. The way the camera works is it first looks at events and it may do a capture. A capture can be triggered on a critical event. Maybe there was a hard brake. Maybe there was a roll stability event. A variety of incidents can cause a capture to occur. Once that happens, that segment, it's just a little piece of video, it goes to Larance. Larance is our partner, Larance Drive Cam. They actually look at that video and decide, is this something that Tri-State / Roadmaster needs to see? If it is, then they're going to run through their analytics and send it over to us to take a look at. Now I took a look at, currently on the 204 units, what our most common issues were. So over the last 90 days, the first item, first most critical item that we're having problems with would be late response time. So that's late to hit the brakes, and it correlates right with our second issue, which is following distance of greater than 1 second but less than 2 seconds. The third item is following distance less than 1 second, and the fourth item are speed violations. So you can see those following distances is a direct correlation to late response time. So that helps us look and coach and work with our driver teams to figure out what it is that we can do to help support you and be a more safe fleet. And that's, let's see, that's going to be part of this ACT, coach, evaluate and verify, and then on-demand video. So again, the only videos that come to us would be a forward-facing video that potentially has a critical event has triggered, and it's something that we need to see and address with the drivers. I've got some questions here, like a Q&A. I'd just like to read through a few of those. One is, how does the DriveCam safety program benefit the driver? And the DriveCam safety program is a video-based safety program designed to help demonstrate when a driver has done everything right. And that I can't reiterate that enough. The goal is, what is the driver doing right? And 99% of the time, what we're seeing is the driver has taken the proper precautions. I've seen many of these videos that no one really would want to have to see, and it's very reassuring to see that in the majority of instances, the drivers here at Tri-State are doing exactly what they should be doing. And we say a picture tells 1,000 words. Well, the video tells 10,000. So it really provides us perspective and context into any issues that might arise on the road. I also would like to talk through an email that I received from one of our drivers. He was really excited about the Lytics program, and he wants to know, when can I get one put in my truck? His comments were, hey, this helps us reduce our insurance rates. That helps all of us as we can become a more profitable company. Helps document solid accident evidence, establish liability of other parties, prevent intentional insurance fraud, record other unsafe events, and that can be done through that blue manual image capture, and provide proof of a driver exoneration, which it has done many times for us. So again, I'm really excited about these cameras. I'd like to open it up now for questions on the floor. Our goal is to have these cameras installed. We'd like to have it done by November, but definitely by the end of the year, we'd like to have these cameras put into all trucks. Any questions, Riley?
Yes, so we have one from Paula Reeves. She says, what about cameras installed previously with R&R?
Okay, that's a great question. So the cameras that were installed previously with R&R are a previous generation Lytics camera. The deal that we worked out, we will be putting brand new cameras in all of the trucks. So those cameras will be replaced with the latest generation, which has a much higher quality video to it, and is also a simpler install.
Sharon Wittenberg wants to know who is responsible for paying for the cameras. Tri-State is responsible for paying for the cameras. The deal that we work, these cameras will be, I think right now we've got 4 years. So we believe this generation will last us at least 4 years, and then we'll probably go to a new generation, but it's Tri-State that has the responsibility for paying for the cameras. We have another question. How will it know when we are speeding?
So that camera actually has a GPS locator in it, and it knows what the road speed limit is that you're on. And it also has a feed from the, it's the J1939 bus that comes through the truck that gives the camera your current speed, So it knows from a GPS position what the speed limit is, and then off of your truck information, it knows the speed that you're going.
Shirley Weiland says, are owner-operators going to be required to have this?
All trucks will be required to have cameras.
No. Brian Brignac says, what about having a panic button so you don't have to reach up to the windshield during an event?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. In the event that it's something that critical, like a hard brake, something like that, that camera is automatically going to record that video. So the manual is done under normal circumstance, but if there's any sort of critical event that happens, that camera's already going to record that event for you.
The next question says, would Tri-State be required to turn over data to authorities?
We have in the past. We have been required to turn over video-based information to authorities as they're evaluating an accident or an incident that may have occurred.
So this isn't really a question, it's more of a comment to consider. Brian Ernston says that a lot of their GPSs have wrong information about speed limits. So that could be a factor in speeding, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're still parsing through, and I can tell you, and we'll get some feedback from Donnie as well, but the goal here is not to police you over your speed limits. The goal here is to make us all a better, safer company. So this is not something punitive. This is something we look at as positive for our drivers, for our company, and for our safety scores.
Yep. And then just another comment that I think is good to share is from Michael Biggs. He says cameras are a good thing because they protect the driver.
Absolutely.
So that's a positive.
That's the goal here. And as we all know, well, many of you know, our most common incident is hit while parked. And typically that's done at truck stops. It's nice to be able to go back and potentially have at least some video, even though it is only out the forward part of your truck, to go back and subrogate that damage to other carriers that have caused the problem with us.
So far we don't have any more questions.
All right, thank you all for joining, and feel free to keep those questions coming. We'll take a look at those comments and get your responses back. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.